Good morning or good whatever time this bomb-ass conversation will reach your ears. This is your girl Faith, the goddess of guidance. Come on in here and let me pour some love and wisdom onto y'all with y'all magical ass, because you're listening to my thing podcast, baby. Hey, baby, I know right now is the perfect time for us to talk and for you to listen. Ask me how I know, because the universe has a way of aligning us together, and I just love everything about the divine timing, okay? Y'all, I'm so excited this morning. I hope that y'all are too, but let me tell you why I'm excited. Today is my baby's solar return. He's making 4 years old, so shout out to Matthias Riggs. Mommy loves you, and happy birthday, baby. Have a blessed day, bud. I hope he listening somewhere, somehow. He gonna listen to it later if he don't listen to it now. But what are we talking about today on My Thing Podcast? Today we are talking about feeding that spirit, okay? Feeding the spirit. What are we talking about feeding the spirit? I'm pretty sure y'all probably heard of the terminology, can't pour from an empty glass, right? So when we say feeding your spirit, we need to stay full. Okay, how do we do that? I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of tips on how to manage to feed your soul. Just because feeding our soul in this world doesn't come first nature. It's not like, when feeding yourself, where you just get food and you put it in your mouth and you tell me, hey, I'm full. No, this time, feeding our spirit has to be something that is intentional. Because a lot of the times, spirit can actually be starved and we wouldn't even know. We would just be going on our day, being miserable, being upset, not understanding why you feel stagnant, why you don't feel like you're moving. And it's because a lot of the times people aren't taking out the time to feed their spirit. So today I am here to tell you, baby girl, we are going to get it together, sis. We are going to make sure that you know how to feed your spirit, how to have a blessed day, how to be productive, okay? And a lot of these words, the first word I'm going to say that's probably going to be a trigger to most people is when you are trying to feed your spirit, you got to be intentional. Intentional? What you mean intentional? I mean you got to do things on purpose. You got to do it on purpose, especially if you want to feed your spirit. Because, like I said, it's not something that automatically happens. We don't automatically get to feed our spirit. Now, sometimes we may do it unconsciously. We're not aware that we're feeding our spirit. So I'm going to break down just a few for you to help you understand how to do that. So first things first, for me, when I come to feeding my spirit, the first thing that I'm doing that's intentional is either picking up a book and making sure that it's something that's uplifting my spirit. I need to be hearing how great and awesome I am, right? I need to make sure that I'm reassured. Basically, that's how you feed your spirit. You got to remind yourself that you're a bad bitch, okay? Excuse my language from my grandma and my mama, and I know y'all listening, but hey, you get my saying. You gotta remind yourself on you are a baddie, or you are a gentleman, you that man, you the king. You gotta remember. So that's how feeding your spirit goes, because we need that. Sometimes in any shape, form, or way, I do not feel like that's stroking your ego, but maybe hell, I don't know. Maybe we are stroking our ego. But I will say this. I feel like, a lot of the times I hear people say things, especially when I'm in counseling sessions, people would say, my mom or my friends never motivated me, so that's not something that I have. Or many people have been motivated in a way that you would think that it's not as motivational. Like some people will use a tactic of negative. You've ever heard that, oh, I like that negative energy because it fills me up. A lot of people will use that. That's not good energy. That's like trauma revenge, and we don't need that. So feeding your spirit is more positive. It's uplifting, because we gotta remember who we are so that we can take on the day, so that we can be awesome beings, so that we can be awesome people, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else around us. This allows us the opportunity to be able to sit back, relax, and not allow the little mediocre things to get a hold of us when we're being intentional. So, and why I said the word intentional was kind of triggering for most people. I think that I said this, I'm not sure, because I talk a lot inside my head. So y'all know that by now, right, though? Y'all do know that is my thing. I be talking in my head and I can't remember what I said, but this is what I'm going to say. Again, if I didn't already say it, being intentional can be a trigger, especially for me. At one point, being intentional was a trigger for me, because I always used to want, me being a Leo, I'm going to bring this up again because y'all know I use astrology. Don't come on here with all that rah-rah. I'm with this, okay? So the word intentional was just like, I gotta do something on purpose. Life can't just happen for me. Like, yeah. So what I mean by this is, why was it a trigger? You ever, especially for my ladies, ladies and men, you might know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. You ever just wanted a man to buy you flowers and not have to tell him? I think that's the easiest way to explain why I had a problem with being intentional. It was something that I had to do, and I just wanted my life to unfold and just feel like lucky and blessed and favor. But even to receive blessings and favor, even people pray about blessings and favors. Like, oh God, please pour blessings on me. Allow my life to be blessed and pour me into flavor and favor, you know? And a lot of times you just want things to happen for you. And for me, the word intentional is just like, oh man, I can't just let it unfold. I got to literally start to be cautious and weary and pay attention to things to make sure that I'm having the life. You know, we are really responsible for our lives. We are responsible. So we got to be accountable and make sure we're being intentional to make sure that we're getting the results, the desired results that we want to see. Okay? So for me, it was a problem because I am a fantasy-like woman. I love to be in a fantasy world. I just want to be like, oh, thank you, God. This is amazing. I'm just being filled. My cup is constantly being filled, you know. But for many, it's not like that. You know, a lot of people go to church and they're not realizing that their spirit is getting filled because the preacher is pouring into them. He's giving them devotion. He's giving them words. And that's just exactly how it is when you're feeding your spirit. For those people who do not attend church, we do need to get a little pick me up. Okay. And like I said, I read a book, something that's going to pick me up and remind me who I am. Or I also listen to Joel Osteen because I love that man. I don't care what y'all say. I love him. Okay? I love his words. Now, remember this. I'm pretty sure your grandma, your auntie, your mama probably told you something like this. A word can come from anybody, even the person you hate the most. They don't like the messenger, but the message be on point. So even if you don't like Joe, he still comes with the word, no matter how shady y'all may think this man is or how crooked he is. He still has a word, and he be delivering on time for me because everything this man say pretty much aligns up with me, the things that I need to hear at that exact moment. Y'all can't tell me that man don't be busting when he be preaching or teaching, because whatever he doing it right. Now, so I used Justine, and I also listened to the woman who was on the movie, The War Room. I love her. She has some really, really, really good things that she talks about that not only feeds my spirit or to remind me who I am. She also, pours that into me because you got to remember not also who you are, but the things that God is able to do. That right there just be like, you just sit back and you be like, dang, God, you are amazing. Especially because God can do exceedingly above and beyond that I can think of, right? It's Ephesians. It's in Ephesians somewhere. 3:20. What is that? I think I got it up here on my wall. Like Ephesians 3:20. Yep, that's what it is. God is able to do exceedingly above and beyond. And you need to remind spirit that, hey, you don't have to go through this world alone. You don't. God got you. But you do got to take out time to be able to remember that God got you. Because sometimes we're just going in this world and being tugged and pulled in every which direction because we're not taking out the time to refocus, to gain that balance of uplift spirit. We're just going around here on an empty glass or on an empty stomach, I would say, and expecting life to just be lifing. No. Be intentional, my baby. Be intentional. Go read a book. Go read the Bible. Go listen to Joel Osteen. Go do something. Go outside in nature. Listen to the birds chirp. Take a bath. Meditate. Pray. Do what you gotta do. But you gotta do something in order to make sure that your energy, hence food, is your belly is being full. Your spirit is being full. Okay? You gotta do it because it's important. It's important. You think I could just get on here all the time and talk to y'all with energy? I'm human. But girl, I know who my source is too. I go straight to God. Or I pick up a book. I need to remember. I need a little pick-me-uppy. I'm hungry. And I'm constantly hungry for life. I'm constantly hungry for the better version of myself. If you're uninspired, this is going to be kind of hard. But I want you to get inspired and listen and apply these things to your life. Apply it so that you can be the better version of yourself. I know you're sick and tired of going through the things you're going through in your life. Because let me tell you something. 9 times out of 10, most of you guys are experiencing life because you're expecting that fantasy. You know what I'm saying? And for the longest, that's why I had drama in my life. I had no boundaries. I just was going with life. I just was like, girl, it's always something. You always know a person when they're not into spirit, or when they're not taking the time out to feed or nourish their soul, because they'll be the same ones. It's always something. And I'm not saying that us people who are into spirit and into God don't experience life, but it makes it a whole lot better. And I love that Kurt Franklin song. He said, I look so much better when I smile. And he said, it gets hard, but because I have God, it makes it a whole lot better, because you get to go back on those words. You get to remind God, remember, God, you said you was going to do this. Remember, God, you said you was going to do that. Or, just to remember or remind you. It's the reassurance from God, from yourself, from everything. It's just all a part of the divine. So if you take out the time and stop trying to live in a la-la land and just pay attention. Pay attention. Not only pay attention, be intentional. It can't hurt you to plan out your life. When we was kids, I always used to tell my cousin when we was growing up, we always used to say, oh, when we used to be playing house and stuff like that, be like, oh yeah, we gonna get us a big old house. You gonna live downstairs, I'm gonna live upstairs, and stuff like that, right? Got mad because it didn't go through. We were expecting a fantasy. And I mean, we don't want to live together now, but as a kid, that's something that we desired to have. But when we got in our teens, we was like, I don't think that's going to happen. And it's because we didn't really put, our minds to it. And you got to know this too. We are energy beings. So where your attention goes is where your energy goes is where attention flows. Meaning, I might be saying that backwards. It might be where energy goes, attention flows, something like that. But long story short, they say your thoughts are the most powerful thing, right? But your tongue, you can speak life, you can take life. It is what it is. But when you begin to understand that most of us, not most of us, we are planning our lives. We're creating our reality. And we're doing that by doing things that is going to allow us to prosper. We're doing things that's going to set us up. You can't expect for things to happen just because. Well, sometimes you can, because that's called blessings. Thank God for them. But it's because either, how somebody said, I thank God I had a praying grandma. I thank God I had a praying mom. Because had it not been for her prayers, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So it's always somebody either on the back end. If you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it for you. And thank God for those people too. Thank them for them. Thank them. Because they are probably the reason you're on the last leg and a woman, a needle and a thread, but you're still going. Because they're praying for your blessings. They're praying for your spirit to be filled, to let your life overflow. And just like me, that's why I say, when I say I'm coming on here to pour love and wisdom, because that's also what I'm doing too. I'm pouring into the listeners that I have. And even people I don't know, I be pouring into them. Like, I pray for those people as well. But you got to be intentional. If you want that cup to overflow for real, you got to put in the work itself. The Bible says faith without works is dead. And that's what he's talking about. What are you willing to do to get yourself to feel amped up? What are you doing so that your spirit can be full? So that you can be the person that you need to be? What are you doing? What intentions are you setting in place? For so long, I always used to tell myself, and I finally did it. And I could tell you this. The moment that I did it, I see my energy begin to turn around. I see my life begin to turn around. I begin to feel really good about things. It's because I made an intentional decision to make it my business, to do what was necessary so that my life can start to unfold, so that I can create my reality, so that I have something to do with this. I want to say in my life. And I know that you should want the same too. So I finally set up my vision board. I had told myself, because I have a great imagination. So I was having it in my head and I was like, yeah, it's going to unfold like that. So I'm saying, you know what? Stop being lazy. I know that I'm powerful and that I can create things with my thoughts. But sometimes they also said, the Bible said, write it down and make it plain. I got to write it down and make it plain. I know what I want to see. And I'm going to make it happen this way. So I did it. And my life is going exactly how I envisioned it. It's getting better by the day, baby. You know, I'm getting fine like wine with these things that I'm creating. So I just want you guys